9th legislative day, I so second.
Order of the day. Rivers State Commissions of Inquiry Bill 2024. Second reading.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I move that the Rivers State Commission of Inquiry Bill 2024 be read for a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I second the motion that the Commission of Inquiry Bill 2024 be read for the second time. I so second.
States 1999 and to reenact the Rivers State Commissions of Inquiry Law for the holding of Commissions of Inquiry 2024 and for other matters connected thereto. Second reading taken. Debate.
A few persons have asked me to ask for information. They are Dule Mao, the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Major Jack, the Leader, the Honorable Lolo Okwende, the Honorable Bernard Mba, the Honorable Barile Wako, the Honorable Tony Adoki, and the Honorable Solomon Wami.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me allow
From my representative Master Constituency. Very pleased, Mr. Speaker, and my most respected colleagues. Mr. Speaker, this bill is seeking to repeal the Commissions of Inquiry Laws, Cap 30 Laws of Rivers State, 1999, which has its origin in the Eastern Nigerian Commissions of Inquiry Laws of 1963. The same law we are talking about has its origin to 1940. Mr. Speaker, we are seeking to repeal this law and to reenact the Rivers State Commissions of Inquiry Law for the holding of Commissions of Inquiry and for other matters connected thereto. Mr. Speaker, fellow colleagues, the bill in question is brought pursuant to the inherent powers of this honorable House and as enshrined in sections 100, sections 5, subsection 2A, and section 128 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as ordered and amended. Mr. Speaker, this particular bill in question has so many merits and advantages. Mr. Speaker, one of them is that we are moving out from absolute laws, aka laws borrowed from time ages, long time ago, to bring this particular bill into reality with the present occurrences and development in our state. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the length and breadth of this particular bill, it will help Rivers State to grow as a state that has modern laws for good governance of our people. Mr. Speaker, I have led the debate. Let my colleagues support this particular bill to its success. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Representing us Senator for 2. Mr. Speaker, first I must appreciate our dear colleagues who have sponsored this bill. Mr. Speaker, if there is any responsibility that the legislature in our state has, that's the responsibility of legislation, is to make laws. To make laws does not necessarily mean to make new laws or to break new laws. But as time progresses, it is time that determine laws that are obsolete and laws that are still relevant. As we grow, as democracy thrives, we see loopholes, we see laws that are obsolete, and then for the benefit and in the interest of our people, we either amend them or repeal them and then make new laws. Mr. Speaker, when our colleague was leading the debate, he gave us a preamble and told us the origin of this law, which was pre-colonial. Mr. Speaker, I want to lay a little foundation. When Nigeria gained its independence, a lot of the laws that came into practice, that came into operation, were laws referred to as received English law. Received English law were laws that when we got independence, came into operation in Nigeria. These laws, after our independence, were British laws that were in operation in Britain. Doctrines of equity, common law, and what they referred as statutes that were in operation in England as at 1st January 1900. Mr. Speaker, laws that, like the sales of goods law or acts that is practiced in Nigeria in most areas, are laws that were made by the British Parliament in those days. In the same vein, the law we're talking about today, Mr. Speaker, were laws that were made in the eastern region. It is an indictment on the legislature that the law that was made in the 40s and 60s up till date is what will be in operation. Mr. Speaker, at the time this law was made, remember that there was no actual functional democracy. We do not have the democratic principle of separation of powers, where we had an independent legislature, an independent judiciary, and an independent executive arm. The executive was practically doing the job of the legislature and of course of the judiciary in most cases. Today we have a functional democracy with tripartite arms of government. Three arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, doing what they are supposed to do. If we continue to go by this law, Mr. Speaker, it means that we as a legislature are not recognizing the principles of separation of power and of course the doctrine of checks and balances. The same law cannot give legislative and judicial powers to the executive. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I must commend our colleagues who have introduced this bill. Today we are showing the world that the legislature of Rivers State is up to date, in terms and in tune with current democratic tenets and practices. That today the legislature will make a law that will truly reflect the interest and intent of the Rivers people. Because of course the legislature is a representation of the people of Rivers State. So it is not wrong to say that this is the first time that Rivers people will actually make a law that will determine their commissions of inquiry. For the first time today, Rivers people are now talking about a law that will superintend over their activities as it concerns commissions of inquiry. That's why, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we cannot continue to practice pre-colonial laws. And it's not just this ones. I encourage my colleagues, and this is a challenge to all of us, to go back into the archives and begin to bring out such laws that are obsolete. And for the interest of our people, begin to repeal those that are supposed to be repealed, and of course amend those that I am very happy to do, Mr. Speaker. So I plead with my colleagues that we should not waste any time and ensure that this bill is immediately given the due attention and made to law. That is my simple submission, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
I remain honorable Emilia Lokiamade, representing the good people of Obia State Contest 2. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a very good one. I want to first of all commend the sponsors, Right Honorable Mao, Honorable Blando, and Honorable Wakwase Vados. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that by the power that conferred on us as legislators, it's not just only to make laws, but also to repeal the archaic ones Speaker.
The sponsors of this bill are lawyers in the House. I congratulate you and thank you for giving me it at this point in time. Mr. Speaker, from what you have said in the archive, this law, the existing law, the Commission of Inquiry law, was rooted from the British colonial days. It goes to show that the existing law is an archaic law. Mr. Speaker, and especially in 1940, that was when this law came in place. And in 1963, when Nigeria became a republic, the Eastern Regional Government started some clauses and made some amendments to suit them at that point in time. And this law has been in existence to date. Mr. Speaker, this House grants this power from Section 128 and 129 of the 1999 Constitution. This particular section expressly gives power to this House to enact the existing Commission of Inquiry law or to bring it to the reality of life. Mr. Speaker, today we are in a modern democracy, and I soon know the reason why we should be dwelling on the archaic laws to operate in Rivers State. And Rivers State is a state. And the Rivers State House of Assembly, as you all know, is an assembly that we are proud of. Nigeria is proud of us. Mr. Speaker, I therefore lend my voice to say that this law be repealed and be redacted to suit the current reality in this state. I hereby support, in the name of Igbo local government, my Igbo constituency where I represent. Mr. Speaker, I lend my voice to this. I thank you all.
I rise this morning and I rise to support this bill that is up for debate. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues have spoken very well and they have said all that needs to be said. But I just want to add, Mr. Speaker, this bill, when repealed, will seek to reverse the fines as stated in this bill. So, what we have here is a modern bill, like Honorable Enemy said. The English law, which we are adopting from, was made in 1903. Now in England, we see that the laws made then and now have been reviewed. So it is only essential for us in this House to review the laws. So I press my case, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I will lend my voice by thanking my colleagues who brought this bill. This repeal bill is timely, is essential, and it was of great importance to our dear state. Mr. Speaker, there is always a reason for making laws. We have been voted by our people to protect them and to protect the person for them. If you go through the principal law, which we are talking about today, you will see defaults in them that does not correspond with the current happenings of what we practice as a president in the last 20 years in this country. the purpose of this bill, when it has been reviewed and passed, what will it cure? It will cure intimidation. Intimidation. If you make reference to what's happening in America or what's happening in America, you will see that a former president was tried and came out clean and won an election. That is the beauty of democracy. If he was found wanting, they will commit him to serve. But he was not intimidated by the present government. But if we continue in this direction, citizens of River State, looking at the bill, because it was not enacted during the democratic era, will intimidate the citizens of River State. And so I commend them for bringing this bill at this point in time. And I know very well that what our colleagues are writing today in River State is a history that will be remembered. Because if you look at some of the clauses that we are repealing today, they will make the commission to be transparent in the discharge of their duty. It will also give opportunity for other tiers of government to be involved. An inquiry has its principles. It is for the betterment of the state. It is a fact-finding commission to get the truth, facts, and it's traded. Not when it is done in a hurry because you want to intimidate leaders of the state, citizens of River State. And this assembly is saying no. Let's do things in the proper way. Nigeria has developed for more than 20 years. And so I commend my colleagues for ensuring that Rivers will never, after this bill has been passed law, be intimidated in course of they are doing their jobs, going about their businesses in the state. And whatever happens will be what is called the fact, the truth, and not even for the truth. So I tell and I commit all my colleagues to support this bill because it will give freedom to Rivers to express their feeling in all tiers of government. So I think this bill is appropriate and the people of Ilemen are happy with it and have asked me that I should lend my voice and also plead with my colleagues not to delay any further and to take this bill to the next stage. Thank you.
My name is Office Kagan Christopher. Mr. Speaker, I want to lend my voice to this bill. First and foremost, I want to appreciate the sponsors of this bill. Right Honorable Lebaro, Honorable Silvano Suwanko, Honorable Mazaya Wende. When I read through the bill, I agree in totality what they have done, and I appreciate them. Once, when this bill is passed into law, knowing fully well that the power to investigate is in our bosom. Section 128 and Section 129 gave us the power, but we donate the power to the executive. And with this bill, when passed into law, the House of Assembly will be involved. The report of the bill, the report of the Commission of Inquiry will be sent to the River State House of Assembly and they will be involved. When they send to the government will send it to the House of Assembly and the House of Assembly will be involved. There is one merit of this bill, showing fully well that there will be separation of power. There will be no intimidation. There will be fair hearing. With this bill, Rivers people will be set free. They will know that actually the assembly is taking their interest and doing what they ask us to come and do here. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this bill in its totality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I dare say that we have deliberated with care, and in so doing, we have exercised the duties entrusted to us by our constituents. I am particularly happy, Mr. Speaker, that this bill will bring us out from the archaic age to the present age, making us one of the legislatures in the states around the country who are trying to upgrade obsolete laws, making laws that are in tune with modern day realities. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, please permit me to move that the debates on this bill be brought to a close. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
As moved by our dear Deputy Leader, I second.
Thank you. Many people for remarks on this bill that they propose us today. It is indeed it's one law that one can best describe as an obsolete law. Obsolete because it does not reflect modern day realities. This is a legislation that was there at a pre-independence period, but following our independence and events at the National Assembly of this country that has brought about changes in our constitution, we find out that this particular law definitely needs some form of touch, which is why those who sponsored this bill they've decided that we should go ahead and repeal the existing law so that we can have a brand new law for Rivers State, one that reflects separation of powers, one that will pave way for an independent commission of inquiry that will do their job and come up with something that will be good for this state whenever they are given that task. We have in this bill 21 clauses as of today, including the citation. But one key thing about this bill, from what members have said, is that the powers donated to this House of Assembly in sections 128 and 129 of the 1999 Constitution, which is powers to inquire, to investigate, to call for witnesses and all that, is vested in this House of Assembly. We have those powers. But what this law seeks to do, what this bill seeks to do, is to repeal the existing law and allow for the Commission of Inquiry to exercise some of those powers in section 128 and 129 of the 1999 Constitution as altered. Meaning that when we are done with this bill and it becomes law, we would have had a profound touch given to this particular bill, so that the commissions of inquiry, whenever they are set up, can work within the limits of the powers of the commission, as we are going to set out at the end of this process. The existing law doesn't seem to have boundaries as to what this commission of inquiry will do. But I think this particular bill is also making the boundaries or their terms of reference whenever they are set up very explicit. And the good thing is that there is a clause in this bill that calls on the governor to reach out to the assembly whenever the commission of inquiry makes their recommendations, and the governor should not go ahead to on his own begin to implement all that any commission of inquiry may ask him to do. Distinguished colleagues, we are all mindful of the fact that the commission of inquiry can make far-reaching recommendations that will touch on previous approvals by this assembly. For instance, if the commission of inquiry recommends that state funds should be used to rebuild anywhere, or that state funds should be used to do certain things that are not provided for in the appropriation law. It requires the governor of the state to let us know before going ahead to implement all that commission of inquiry has asked the governor to do. So, what this bill seeks to do is to ensure that the tripartite touch between the commission and the governor and as well as the assembly is ensured for the interest of the good people of Rivers State. But we have also ensured, from what I've read in this bill, what the sponsors are saying is that the commission of inquiry should concentrate on the areas that the law has said it should concentrate on. So the bill definitely will take care of the powers to issue commissions of inquiry, the particulars of the commission, of course, the forms of summons, form of warrants, interpreters, use of evidence, and the procedures in respect of contempt generally, and procedure in respect of contempt not in the presence of commissioners. So it takes care of all those things that we find as issues in the current law. Members have also identified the fact that some of the penalties in the current law, the amount attached to those penalties are no longer in tandem with modern day reality, a situation where someone will have to pay, say, about 10,000 naira as costs to the commission in the event that the commission has to spend to compel the person to appear before her. So 10,000 naira that they wrote in the previous law, or in the existing law, as you may have it, is quite infinitesimal. It's only proper that we review the figure. So what the sponsors of this bill did is actually to increase some of the fees so that they will reflect modern day reality. We know the value of our naira today. So something that used to be penalty as far back as 1963 or in 1999 certainly will no longer hold sway in today's Nigerian economy. So it's only proper that the assembly that has the authority by virtue of sections 128 and 129 should look into the existing law and come up with very meaningful changes that will reflect today's realities and strengthen commissions of inquiry whenever they are set up by the governor. So I think this will do the state a lot of good, and we believe that at the end of the day, it will also ensure that separation of powers between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary is not tampered with the use of commissions of inquiry. That's exactly what this bill seeks to do, and it's our prayer that it turns out well for our people if it is finally passed by this August Assembly. Honorable members, let me once more commend you for your contributions, and I believe we can make progress on this bill. So debate, motion for closure of debate, the ayes have it. Debate is hereby closed. Distinguished colleagues and others, this bill is hereby committed to the House Committee on Judiciary, and we expect the House Committee on Judiciary to present their reports within 1 week. We're asking them to publish this bill and the notice for the public hearing on the national daily. They must make sure that the public hearing is held, and we want their reports presented to this August Assembly in 1 week. Clerk, what do we have on the other paper? What next?
Recall that we asked the House Committee on Public Petitions to investigate problems we witnessed on the 7th of October in Nigeria State and various governments. And we have that committee to present their report to this
So let's see if they have the report. As committee chairman of regulation, do you have the report?
Following the incident in our state on 7 October 2024, where witness institutions, where thugs, miscreants, and malevolent minds invaded various local government secretariats in our state. The Speaker, in line with Order 24 you referred the petition to our committee. The Speaker, I know that the committee had promised that we shall expedite actions and make sure that our report is out in as short time as possible. Mr. Speaker, the voluminous nature of the report and very, very tasking nature of the job has made it a bit difficult for us to conclude within the time frame that we promised. Mr. Speaker, what we saw was not what we expected. In fact, the number of witnesses and people we have had to interview has made the job very tasking. But Mr. Speaker, we thank God that as we speak, over 75% of the job, over 85% of the job is done. As we have almost exhausted the list of people we invited to interview. As I speak to you, we just have a few number of people to conclude our report. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with you and of course with this honorable house to give us a little more time so that we can do a proper job. Mr. Speaker, we also want to thank